we're back. The Silver and Blue Huddle is back after a 2 weeks absence. I went on vacation. The Cowboys started winning. They're on a 2-game win streak. We got Expert Corner here. We got my man So Amazing is finally back after figuring out the Rutgers Tigers or whatever they wasn't going to make it to the college football playoffs. He decided to come back to the podcast now that season is over. You know what I'm saying? So welcome back, So Amazing. I'm glad you came to your senses that Rutgers is not a good football team. All right. But anyway,
Perth plays college football. That's what I'm saying.
We're back, fellas. It feels good to be back. Like I said, I went on a little vacation. We had a little bye week as well. Our Cowboys got on a little win streak while we was away. 2 games now. Like, I'm liking it. I'm loving it. I mean, those 2 games could have been L's, which I would have probably preferred they've been L's to help our little draft stock out, because there's a certain running back out there that's called Damian Martinez of my Miami Hurricanes that I want the Cowboys to draft. I know you're going to say, Rich, you crazy. You a little bit biased, but I want them to draft Damian Martinez. I know you guys are going to say, hey, go for the Boise State dude or whoever. But I'm a little biased. I want the Hurricanes. But welcome back, fellas. So we're gonna jump right into it. We got 2 games to cover. We got what was the first game? The Commanders and then the Giants. So 2 games to cover. We won both of them. We're on a win streak. So my question to both of y'all, is the Cowboys back? Are the boys back?
I don't think the Cowboys are back. It's as a fan, I'm happy because the 2 wins were division wins. So as a fan, I'm like, yeah, we knocked off the Commanders. Their fan base was saying, we want Cowboys, So deep down in my Cowboy heart, I was like, yeah, they asked for it. We gave it to them. So, Giants, Thanksgiving Day, that was a free win. That's like, when you pass go, you collect $200 like Monopoly. I mean, that was an easy one. Demarion, Overshawn made a play. First pick 6 in his entire football career, not just NFL. He said his entire life. So I'm not going to say they're back. I'm just, I guess, a little happy that we're at least fighting now. That's it.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Commander game was one of those where you get a chance to go into their place. Their fans are screaming, we want Dallas, we want Dallas. You got Dan Quinn on that side. Everyone's hyping up the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is this. This run game is filthy. This defense is lights out. They getting after the quarterback. And the Cowboys went in there and reminded the Washington Commanders, you're still our little brother again. I don't care who your coach is. I don't care who your quarterback is. We're going to come in there and prove to y'all that we're better than y'all. And I think that game was more pride than anything. You get some great plays by the defense. You get some great plays by special teams. Your offense doesn't turn the ball over. Then you get the Giants on Thanksgiving. And the Giants on Thanksgiving is just one of those games where we all looked at it as Cowboy fans was like, there's no way we lose this game, right? There's no way we let the Giants beat us. And the Cowboys did exactly what I thought they were going to do. They played down to the Giants. If they would have played the Giants with the same energy they played the Commanders with, you beat the Giants by 30 points.
Right.
But instead, your offense is lackluster. You finally get Rico Dowdle going. CeeDee Lamb disappears. He's on a milk carton somewhere. Find out where CeeDee went. Your number 1 wide receiver is Kevontae Turpin. And if Overshown doesn't make a miraculous play on the screen pass, tipping the ball up, going and catching himself, running back for the touchdown, you lose to the New York Football Giants. So are the Dallas Cowboys back? No. As long as Cooper Rush is at quarterback, this team will never be back. Then I love the Trey Lance package we got. I don't understand this package they keep talking about. They let this poor man come in. The defense knows, the offense knows, all the fans in the stands know. They're just running the football with Trey Lance. They're run committing as soon as Trey Lance gets in. They're not letting him throw the football. I don't understand this play calling. I don't understand. On both sides of the football, it's not just the offense. On defense with 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, we got 2 guys in the A gap, and one of those guys is a linebacker that's responsible for the flat. He has no chance to get out there and make a play. We're giving up easy first downs, trying to disguise something that everybody knows you're not blitzing. You don't have the secondary to play man-to-man right now. Trayvon's hurt. You lost Butler in the Giants game. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is football 101. They're not playing well. The fact is the other teams just are playing worse than us, and we're catching W's, which sucks because now you got two more teams that can't get out their own way in the Bengals and the Panthers. We may look up in a couple weeks, guys, to be 7-7. I just don't get it. I
know what you're saying. You're saying be 7-7 by accident almost. It's not
it's by default at this point, right? So amazing. Like, it's not like it's kind of like the overshown pick. Oh, I tipped the ball in there and went and caught it on my own. Like, oh my God, look what I found. Might as well just go with it. All of a sudden now, Cowboy Nation is back. Look at the tape, man. It's embarrassing. The Commanders laid down for us.
Yeah.
They played horrible. They couldn't run the football. Their quarterback, when the quarterback got out the pocket and ran, Jaden Daniels is filthy. But make him stand in the pocket and throw the football, he is barbecue chicken. He is horrible at that. And that's exactly what happened. Then you played. Listen, Drew Lock is famous for one thing, and it's lip syncing a rap song sitting on the bench in Denver. It's the only thing he's known for. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. It was so bad the Giants said, Tommy DeVito, we need you to fake a sickness so we can get Drew Lock to play, because the Giants know how to tank better than anybody else. They started in the offseason when they told Saquon Barkley, we think you should test the market. We're going to ride with Daniel Jones. They've been tanking since May of last year.
And
like
the Mara family has been drinking Pepto-Bismol the whole season.
Oh, my God. It's ridiculous, dude. They're going to get the number one draft pick. They're going to get Shador Sanders, or they're going to get Travis Hunter, whoever they want at number one. And the Giants are going to try and rebuild this program because they're tanking when we should have been tanking.
Right. And I totally agree with both you guys on the take in the state of the Cowboys. The Cowboys probably not back, but it's looking pretty good on paper that they probably could be back and at least maybe make a push for the playoffs. But that's just what the Cowboys do every single year. Well, every single year up into like the last 3 years, you know, we was always waiting to the end of the season to figure out if we was going to be in the playoffs, because we had a lot of the 8-8 seasons with Jason Garrett or whatever. So I'm not too surprised. But speaking on Cooper Rush, I know I got on this podcast probably a few weeks ago and said, in Cooper Rush, I trust, and he was going to lead the Cowboys to greatness. But I'm kind of disappointed in Cooper Rush because the man has been in the Cowboys system for 2 to 3 years and still come out and play like trash every single week. He throws ducks into the grass. He like he don't know the play sometimes. But why did we stop Cooper Rush from going to a different team in the offseason? Like, why did we really bring him back? Because we could have probably been developing somebody younger and been in a better position than Cooper Rush, because that man has been disappointing these last couple weeks. Like, I know he had some good passing games, but overall, for somebody who's been in that system for a long time, yeah, he sucks. Cooper Rush sucks.
I've never understood the Cooper Rush hype. Yes, he's a good backup quarterback. He's serviceable. But for you to give the reins to him and say, we need you to win us 6-7 ball games in a row, that's not who he is. He's not a cerebral quarterback in the pocket that can make every single throw on a consistent basis. He has no mobility whatsoever. So if you get a rush on him, he is a sitting duck. And listen, you didn't think Dak Prescott is going down with a season-ending hamstring injury. You didn't really think about that when you started to look at this season. Again, they didn't set this team up for success from the beginning, and now they're reaping those rewards. But the problem is that the play calling is not beneficial to Cooper Rush. Someone has lied to this coaching staff, to this fan base, and say 4 and 10 are the exact same thing except for their skin color. They can do everything the same. No, they cannot. Dak Prescott, I don't care what anybody says. Look at the stats and how he plays. In the regular season, Dak Prescott is elite. Cooper Rush is Drew Lock with years on him. That's all he is to me. And the coaching staff has not done the things to make him successful. Look at the one pass he threw to CeeDee Lamb in the Washington Commander game where CeeDee had to come back to that football in between two defenders. If CeeDee doesn't make a great play, that's a pick six going the other way. Right. Only CeeDee Lamb is the reason that pass was there. That's the problem, though, is that the other guys are making Cooper look a little bit better. And then in the Giants game, you actually got a run game with Rico Dowdle. He averaged over 5 yards a carry, had over 100 yards finally this year. But
the run game is what's helping Cooper. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, let's be real. And shout out the offensive line, though. You know, I'm not saying, again, we played the Commanders, played the Giants. We didn't play nobody crazy, but the offensive line, those guys rotating in that have been rotating in, especially with Martin being out, I got to give them a little bit of credit. You got to give Bass a little credit. You know what I mean? You got to give Richards. Right. I think Richards was out for one game and then he came back the other. So I got to give them a little credit. You know what I mean? Like where the credit is due. But that's what is helping Cooper Rush. I mean, Cooper Rush is an average quarterback in the league. Can he throw better than me and you? Hell yeah. But I'm just saying, like, for talent wise, you know, Cooper Rush, he's not gonna run for a first down. He's not gonna do anything extravagant. He's gonna make 1-2 reads and probably get sacked and throw it away. There's nothing fancy you're gonna see from him. And I think until he gets comfortable throwing it to CeeDee Lamb, you're really not going to see nothing unless, like you said, we go 7-7, and then now the coaching staff is going to be pressured to be like, okay, we're 7-7. We need to start force feeding CeeDee Lamb the ball again. That's what I think is going to happen. Let's be real. If we go 7-7 by accident because out of nowhere our team just wins because the Bengals got a shitty defense, Joe Burrow's going to dot us up. Let's be real. Joe Burrow's going to dot us up. Right. I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to be upset seeing Jamar Chase get touchdowns on us. I'm not going to be upset about that. I'm going to be upset if we score 35, 40 points and then, like, we come back to the podcast and they're like, oh, my God, the Cowboys are back. They scored 40-plus points against the worst defense in the league. The Bengals have a bad defense.
They're horrible.
I feel bad for Joe Burrow because he has the same damn stats as Josh Allen, which is another argument that we could talk about. But Joe Burrow, you need to break that contract and come to the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, the problem is we got $240 million tied up with our quarterback. Be kind of hard. But exactly what So Amazing said. Your TJ Bass steps in, Brock Hoffman steps in. Cooper Beebe has really been a quiet, great addition to this offensive line. You're not hearing a lot about him, but he's doing his job. Tyler Smith doing a great job there at left guard. Terrence Steele has actually stepped up and played pretty decent at that right tackle. So they are having some pieces. And I think that's the biggest addition for this Cowboy team is can they get healthy, right? You finally got Brandon Cooks back. CeeDee Lamb gets hurt. So hopefully CeeDee can get healthy. You get Brandon Cooks. Hopefully they find a way. This Jonathan Mingo kid had one catch for 2 yards on the Giants. We wasted a 4th-round pick. We got to find a way to get him involved. I love the Schoonmaker kid at tight end. Now that Ferguson got hurt, Schoonmaker has been playing really, really well in the pass game. It seems like him and Cooper Rush have a great chemistry together, but you're going to get Ferguson back. So it's about these weapons that they're going to start getting back. Zach Martin hopefully will be back this week. Hopefully CeeDee will be healthy. You'll have the second game with Brandon Cooks and Cooper Rush. Mingo with his second game with Cooper. Hopefully Ferguson will be back. That's a big addition. And then on the defensive side, kind of like what So Amazing said, you expect Joe Burrow to have a really good game versus us because he's been playing lights out versus every defense. The thing is that this week you're probably going to get, because Trayvon could have played in that Giants game if it was like a crucial win to get in playoff game. Trayvon would have played, but they held him out because it's the Giants. You're going to get Trayvon Diggs back. So for the first time this year, you're going to have Trayvon Diggs, and you're going to have Ron Bland on the other side with Jordan Lewis in the slot. You're going to have your 3 cornerbacks that you thought you were going to have at the beginning of the year, plus your 2 back-end guys are playing well. And then hopefully we hear about DeMarcus Lawrence coming back, and before you know it, you might have a full squad back with the exception of Dak Prescott. Then we'll see what this Cowboy team can do. This would be the most Cowboy thing ever, though, wouldn't it? To sneak into the playoffs here and then make a run and make it to a Super Bowl would be the most Cowboy thing. Listen, if the Cowboys find a way to make an NFC championship game, the 49ers is down. They not playing real well. What team in the NFC scares you the most?
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead, Rich. You go first with that before I get into it.
Who is the team that scares you the most? The Bucks? You're going to get a chance to see them. Is it the Commanders? You just beat them. You got the Seahawks are playing well. I don't know what team scares you in the NFC because the 49ers were the big bad wolf and they're pretty much out at this point.
Right. I mean, for me, I'd probably say at least the Lions, only because we got Cooper Rush. I mean, and then they could just run the ball anytime they want down our throats or whatever. I know we normally play them kind of tough. And normally with the Lions, it's like defining moments that happen within that game that determines who's going to win it. Like the Cowboys can keep up with the Lions, but then there's going to come that one moment in the game where either a turnover is going to go against Dallas, or it's going to be in favor of Dallas, or Cooper Rush is going to throw a pass, interception, or a touchdown or something like that. Then the game's just going to get out of hand. So I think we can beat the Lions, but to answer your question, with the 49ers out, probably nobody really scares me. I think the Cowboys can beat anybody in the NFC. Like that's just.
I mean, obviously you got the Packers and the Lions,
right?
The Vikings, the Seahawks, the Bucks. Those are the teams. The Commanders. Those are the teams that are going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Obviously, the Lions are the most talented team out of that group, but if you get a chance, you might not see the Lions till the NFC Championship game, which this is just, it's mind-blowing to me that we sat here 2 weeks ago and we talked, this season is over, Dak is hurt, it's done, everybody get your draft boards. I'm looking at draft picks already. Who do I want to come to Dallas? You talking about the running back from Miami. You got Genty over there with the Boise State Broncos. I don't know. You need another defensive lineman. I hate to say this, there's another huge Michigan kid at defensive tackle that you could go get. But now here we're sitting
from Mozzie Smith.
Hold on now. Hold on. We got to start looking at the Mozzie Smith experience. He has been playing so much better.
Yeah,
much better than where he was last year. I'm not saying he's lived up to the first round draft pick, but he is playing better, and I think he's only going to get better with reps in the NFL. And once the game starts slowing down, it takes a little bit longer for some guys for the game to slow down to understand how it works and what your role is. And he has done a lot better job these past 3-4 weeks playing for the Cowboys. So we'll see what happens with Mozzie. But you still need another defensive lineman in there. You need another. Imagine if you had two linebackers like Damari and Overshown.
Look, if you get another DT that could, if Mozzie gets better, right, just through reps and experience, if you can get another DT that could stand next to Mozzie, that can take double teams, that can open up Overshown to then unleash him.
Correct.
Because if Overshown is very athletic, if you can let him roam and blitz and find a gap and not have to worry about a guard coming up to his level, he could be him.
Yeah.
Those are we talk about strategies, right? Like what do defensive coordinators look for? How do you want to build the team? And that's the way I look out for the Dallas Cowboys is that, there's a lot of youth on the team, offensively and defensively, but it's how do you bring it together, right?
Yeah.
And, what is that? Let's go back to coaching, right? So you have to be able to figure that out. And that's the toughest part about football, especially at this highest level, is taking these little chess pieces that you have on your defense and your offense, and how do we put them together to make it work? Yeah. That's the toughest part, and again, I know we can sit here for hours and hours and talk about, well, what if we did this? What if we did that? I just think as a Cowboy fan, I'm happy that we're showing fight, and I'm happy that the younger backup players, second string, third string guys are getting more of a chance to hit the field. So then we know what we could do next year. So who we're going to keep, who we're going to pick up in the draft. I think that's a good business way of looking at it and fan base. But as for right now, we're in the season. This is December football, which is my favorite football. I'm torn. I don't know how to feel. I want to be happy for the Dubs, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to get a late pick. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine guys that you go 8-9 and miss the playoffs, and now you're picking at 20 when you had an opportunity to have a top 10 pick. Now, is there a top 10 pick I think comes to this Cowboy team and completely changes them? Probably not. But I think you have some draft capital at 10 that maybe you could trade back, get some extra picks. I don't know. I'm with So Amazing. As a fan, I'm sitting here like, man, it's so good to see this team finally get some W's. I feel good for the guys in that locker room. They're finally getting some positive things going for the Cowboys. But then I take that first layer off, and then you look at it underneath, and you're like, yeah, but are they really, really winning, or the other teams losing? There is a difference in the NFL. The NFL is a game of inches and execution. And if you look at these past two games, the Cowboys executed more than the other two teams. Can they keep that up? Obviously, this week versus the Bengals on Monday night is going to be a big test, because if you find a way to slow down this offense in Cincinnati, you can blow them out. Because So Amazing wasn't joking when he said it's the worst defense in the NFL. They are dog water. I mean, they are bad. They can't stop the run. They're horrible versus the pass. They do not create turnovers. They cause way too much penalties on the defensive side of the football. You are never out of the game versus Cincinnati if your offense is on the field. The problem is you got to find a way to slow down this Cincinnati Bengal offense. And if you do that, imagine you beat the Bengals with Joe Burrow playing as well as he's playing. I'm talking, if his defense wasn't so bad, we'd be talking about Joe Burrow in the MVP conversation. He's having that type of year. But if you find a way to slow that down, the confidence it gives this Cowboys team also would give us confidence as fans. Because I'm like, okay, that's 3 in a row. And you beat a pretty decent Bengals team that's playing real well on offense, and you find a way to slow them down. Then you're going to beat up on the Panthers, who are playing better football, but they're still the Panthers this year. They still are in some rebuild mode with Bryce at quarterback. Then you get your toughest test outside of the Eagles with the Buccaneers in that third game. That's, you win those next 3 games, you're 8-7. Who knows what happens? I'm like So Amazing. I'm completely torn, Rich. Right. I wish we would have lost the Commanders game, but it made this East season so much better. But Cowboys are going Cowboys, and that's what they do. When you think they're down, they find a way to go get a win versus a divisional opponent they had no business beating.
Right. So basically, the moral of the story is that you guys are disappointed that the Cowboys are winning. You rather them tank, and you rather them already have a draft board ready to go and picking number 2 or 3.
Ooh, 2 would have been nice. 2 would have been nice, right? Because listen, I think the Giants are going to get 1, and the Giants are taking a quarterback, right? There's no way the Giants don't take a quarterback. They're taking one of the quarterbacks coming out, whether that's Shador Sanders or Quinn Ewers or Beck or whoever it is. They're taking a quarterback. Then if you start looking at those next draft picks, Travis Hunter is there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got Genty from Boise State. I mean, there's some players there that you start looking at and you're like,
okay,
this could be a great addition to this Cowboy team.
So let me ask you, Espert, because we're going to put you on the clock. You're the GM. You're right next to Jerry Jones. He say, Espert Corner, this is your pick. This is your decision. We're on the clock. Obviously, the Cowboys can trade up and get the highest pick that they want just by trading up. So, Espert Corner, you are the GM. You make the call. You know the needs of the team, offense, defense. Who are you going with?
And I get any pick?
Any pick.
I'm taking Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter can help you on either side of the football. You get to find out what you want him to play. He is a filthy wide receiver. I don't care what anybody says. He's top 5 in receptions, touchdowns, and yards as a wide receiver. Meanwhile, playing 90% of the defensive snaps. Nobody has done that in college football. Yes, Deion played a little bit on both sides in the NFL. He didn't do it in college. You had the guy in Michigan, what was the Denzel or whatever his name was in Michigan, I don't know what his name is because I'm a Badger and I don't care what his name is. But he played a little bit on both sides. We've never seen what Travis Hunter has done in college football. Imagine when he gets to the NFL, he gets to focus on one side or the other. Now, I would love to have him as a wide receiver, team him up with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Ferguson would be amazing. But I also would love to see the running back from Boise State.
Okay.
We need a flashy guy in that backfield. I love Rico Dowdle. I love what he does. I love how hard he runs, but he's just not. To me, he's not that guy. And they got to find that guy, right? Tony Pollard wasn't that guy. Zeke's not that guy. Dowdle's not that guy. Dalvin Cook's not that guy. Lupke's not that guy. They didn't even dress Vaughn. They ain't dressed Vaughn since like week 3. He's definitely not that guy. They got to find somebody to run the rock, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to find somebody. So I'm taking one of those two. I'm taking the running back from Boise State, or I'm taking Travis Hunter.
I don't think. Okay, Travis Hunter, take him off the board. You going with the running back pretty much, right? Because I don't think Travis Hunter going to be there for the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys would even consider Travis Hunter. I'm not like the biggest Travis Hunter fan out there. I think the Cowboys got a way more bigger needs than DB or wide receiver. I definitely want to see them pick a running back. We need to get the running back again.
I understand that, but when you have an opportunity to take a generational talent, and listen, Travis Hunter is the Dallas Cowboy of college football, right? Because you either love him or you hate him, right? And a lot of people don't even hate him because he's Travis Hunter. Because if you ever like really paid attention, he really seems like a really cool guy. Like I've watched a couple of his streams. Seems like a down-to-earth guy. You can tell he loves playing the game of football. He's very talented. But there are people that just hate him to hate him, right? And I get it, right? He plays for Deion Sanders, who's not the most likable coach for whatever reason. I don't understand that. So I'm going to have to explain to that. I'm not saying that because his jersey is on the wall behind me with his signature. I'm not saying that. To me, what Deion has done in Colorado should be celebrated across all of sports. He took a team that was 1-11, and now we're talking about one of the powerhouses in college football. And recruits continue to want to go to Colorado. He continues to have a top 10 recruiting class for another year in Colorado. It's going to be interesting to see what he does once Shador and Travis leave. But I agree with you, Rich. At some point, you got to address the running back situation in Dallas. And you had the perfect opportunity this offseason. Saquon Barkley was there. Derrick Henry was there. Aaron Jones was there. I mean, so many guys were available. You're going to have to do something. You either got to find that next running back in the draft, or you're going to have to go sign one in free agency.
I personally think you're not going to be able to get Genty. I don't think Genty goes first round. You know why? Because historically, NFL owners now are scared to, ever since Saquon Barkley, I think he was like the last running back that went in the first round. Majority of running backs, regardless of how good they are, even like a Jonathan Taylor back in the day, they went second, third round. You know what I mean?
He still goes late first. I think he goes
late first. Well, I think he does late first if he falls into the Cowboys' lap. Yeah. Like if he falls into our if we're picking in the 20s, what happened?
They got to trade up and get him at all costs.
What other running backs are coming out? You got the kid out of Miami. You got Judkins out of Ohio State, and you got Genty.
You got the guy. Judkins, and I don't know if you have the other guy. Damn, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. He's you said Ohio State already. Doesn't I think Texas? Doesn't Texas have one?
No, Texas lost both of their top running backs to injury, so I think those two guys are going to come back next year. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. At some point, whether it's late in the first, middle of the first, or if you trade up early in the second, you're going to have to go get a running back to improve this football team. But again, we can sit here, and I still think there's tons of holes on this defense that you got to go D-line, Mason Graham. You got to find a defensive lineman.
320 pounds?
You got to find a defensive tackle. I really think that's got to, as much as it sucks to talk about as a Cowboy fan, because it's not the splashy pick that we usually want to talk about, right? It's not the Randy Moss. It's not the Dez Bryant. It's not that, Ezekiel Elliott when they picked him early. It's not that splashy pick to go get a 320-pound big boy in the middle on the defensive side, even though when you look at the games, it's one of their biggest needs. because, like So Amazing said, when you can keep those big uglies off of Overshown, blocking him, and he can get downhill as a linebacker, he is a game changer. And if you can find two defense tackles to plant in the middle of that defensive line, and they can hold that offensive line from getting to that second level, it lets your playmakers be playmakers. Also, you have two guys in the middle that are demanding a double team. You can't double the two edge guys in DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. It just instantly makes your whole defensive line better. And I think that's where teams are starting to build from. Start at that defensive line. You got to get two guys that can get off the edge. You got to get two guys that can stop the run in the middle. And that's what the Cowboys really need. And I bet that's where they go. They either go offensive line or defensive line with that first pick.
Yeah. And
We'll
and to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, and I'm gonna go be a little homer and a little New Jersey guy because it worked out for the Chiefs and maybe it can work out for the Cowboys. How about our first pick? We go D line or O line, right? Solidify, get it better, for the future. And then the second, third round come, we pick up the best Big Ten running back in the league. I mean, in the conference, Mr. Kyle Monangai from Rutgers.
We gonna cut your mic off, sir. Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, you
him. That's
pick him up as a
50
steal. You saw what happened with Pacheco. You saw what happened with Pacheco. They run the same way.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's a good running back at Rutgers. He's going to be a late third, probably early fourth round pick.
He's going to be just like Pacheco, honestly.
Again, though, who says you can't pick a guy up in the late third, fourth round pick as a running back and him change your offense, right?
Still be a star,
you bring up Pacheco, but look at what he's done in Kansas City. That guy wasn't on anybody's radar.
Nobody's
right. Nobody was talking about him. Listen, it's the same thing every year. Yes, if you're a first, second round pick, but listen, we got Jake Ferguson late. And he's been a great tight end for us, right? You pick Cooper Beebe late. He's been great at center. It's not always the flashy first-round pick that's at the draft. It's usually those guys sitting at home with their mama and their girlfriend sitting next to them, or with the camera in their living room that turns out to be the best steal in the draft. It's usually not ever the guy that's number one.
Nobody thought Deron Bland was going to step up the way he did.
Exactly.
And now he's a number one, number two corner. Mind you, he was a special teams person guy, like a third. He was a slot corner.
This is the most frustrating Cowboys season because at least last year we knew we were going to the playoffs, so we were just all focused on the playoffs. Yeah. We weren't talking about draft picks and what we need next year. We were worried about all of that.
I feel like it's too many angles, and right, Rich? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's too many angles and too many ways you can go at this. And listen, we're not the only. Of course, there's many Cowboys podcasts out there, especially the official ones with the NFL, and I listen to them. And there's nothing different than what we're saying right now. They don't really have too many topics either to focus on either, because you can take this team and this conversation any direction. And you have plenty to talk about, because I could talk about the draft. We could talk about the youth on this team. We could talk about who's stepping up, who needs to step up, injury this, injury that. What's Jerry doing? Oh my God. What's the coach? We literally could talk about every single part of this whole organization. And that's what's the beautiful thing about being a Cowboys fan.
America's team.
Well, the thing is, everybody else is talking about us too, right?
Right.
It's crazy to think you're 5-7 and you turn SportsCenter on, you turn ESPN First Take, and the first thing is, are the Cowboys back? Did Mike McCarthy save his job? Like, can we not talk Josh Allen having an MVP type year? The Chiefs, I mean, they're playing great football. Like, the Lions are a great story, right? Can we not talk about them? Talk about the 49ers. They done fell off the cliff, but all they talk about the 49ers is, oh, look at all the poor injuries they have. But with the Cowboys, it's always something different. We always got to bash the game. It's okay. Right. It's okay. I get it. I've been a Cowboy fan for 35 plus years, so I get it. I understand it. It's always been this way.
Yeah, and I was going to say that it probably sucks to be a fan of another team because they never get any airtime at all. Your team win, your players go out and have a career day or something like that, and then you turn on the TV and they're talking about the Cowboys. Like, they never talk about your team. They never talk about your players at all. Like, they never talk about your city. Like, they don't talk about anything that you like. They talk about the Dallas Cowboys, though. They talk about America's team. They talk about how we back. They talk about how our coach is going to be back next year. They talk about Jerry
Oh,
Jones.
please
They
no.
talk about the star, but they never talk about your team at all because your team sucks. It doesn't matter. The Cowboys bring in ratings, and that's what we do. That's why we're America's team, and that's why everybody loves us, and that's why you guys love us too. I mean, come on. Come on. I made a video today about minding your business. Everybody's in the Cowboys business, and
That's
nobody's in their own team's
This is
business.
your circle up here. This is my circle down here. If you haven't seen the TikTok, go check out Richblkman TikTok.
Right.
It's going to explain you got to get your ex out of this circle and get all the way back up here where your team is.
And you know, it's kind of funny because we all know those people that they love sports and they love football, but you don't really have an idea of who their team is because they never talk about their team. They're always talking about your team. You never know that Stephen A. Smith was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan because all he does is talk about the Cowboys. And the Steelers are having a great year. But you
Why
would
is he not talking about the Steelers?
You would not know that.
Listen, at some point, there's got to be a lot of apologies in the NFL because Russell Wilson was washed before the season started.
Yeah.
And yet, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season, and Russell Wilson is playing his butt off.
Right.
And guess what? They're the only team that knows how to rotate two quarterbacks the right way. You see what they're doing? Let's be real. I'm not saying like what they did is perfect, but yeah, they started with Fields. You know, they wanted to make sure everything was going right.
This is why the Bengals are trash, though, right? Because nobody on the planet Earth, when they brought Justin Fields in on third and whatever, nobody on planet Earth was like, he about to throw this ball or hand this ball to somebody. But what did the Bengals do? The Bengals said, ain't no way Justin Fields running it. We run commit right up the middle. Everybody get to the middle. And that corner was in the worst position possible. Justin Fields was like, this is the easiest first down I ever had in my life.
It was like easy.
Nobody is talking about the Steelers, though. They're all talking about the Cowboys. And if Mike McCarthy is back next year, I'm driving to the Star. It's not far. It's only about 3 hours from here. I'm driving to the Star, and I'm protesting every day until they fire that man. There is no reason Mike McCarthy should be back next year.
McCarthy got to show me something as a fan because, like, I'm a hardcore football fan in general, not just a Cowboy fan. And even his post-game locker room speeches, they don't even sound genuine. Like, they don't sound like I'm gonna run through a wall for this dude. Like it sounds you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a corporate, like your corporate boss that has like, all right, guys, just letting you guys know we had a great season. We had a great year. The fiscal year was fantastic. Let's clap it up. Yeah, everybody worked hard today. Yeah. Tuesday, we're off Monday. So Tuesday, see you on Tuesday, guy. Great game. That's exactly what his beat. Like, there's no enthusiasm. You don't see no players going behind him. Yo, what up, Mike? Like, nobody does that. And maybe it does happen and we don't see it, but I don't know, man. There's just nothing that gets me like, yo, I want to go knock somebody out for that dude.
Nah, the only thing I want to see from Mike McCarthy is his backside, walking out that damn door, leaving his keys behind, getting in his car, and going the hell home, way far away from the Dallas Cowboys facilities. That's the only thing I want to see from Mike McCarthy. Okay?
Rich, do you hire internally, or do you go out?
No. You got to go outside.
There's too many good coaches that out there that I feel, young coaches that could come in here and instantly make this Cowboy team better, right? What Ben Johnson has done in Detroit, you got to go find a way to yank that guy. I don't know, Cliff Kingsbury in the Commanders. You got to find a way to get some youth, kind of like what Mike is saying. Somebody get in here and fire this group up and not be the Mike McCarthy we got. Well, listen, Jason Garrett was the same way. I never felt like Jason Garrett ever fired this team up. He just clapped on the sidelines. Listen, you couldn't turn, if they would take the score away when Jason Garrett was the coach, you never could tell if the Cowboys were up or down by just focusing on Jason Garrett. Because if they were up 40, he was on the sidelines clapping. If they were down 40,
he's clapping.
He was on the sidelines clapping. He was the biggest flatline coach in the history of the NFL. Loved the man to death. Was a great backup quarterback for Troy Aikman. He did really good when he first got to the Cowboys as a coach, but he was kind of just that. He never was up or down. I want a Dan Campbell. I want a coach that I feel like he wants to put the pads back on and go back on that field. I want a Dan Campbell, right?
Right.
I want that kind of coach. I want a fired up, in your face, has an opportunity to get an unsportsmanlike conduct play as a head coach. I need that type of guy on the sideline. We don't have that. And we don't have that guy. Maybe Al Harris could be that guy, but that is the only guy on this roster that I would even think about promoting to the head coach if we were talking about it. I think McCarthy's got to be gone. Zimmer's got to be gone. This whole coaching staff's got to be gone.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to restart and refresh. You got way too much talent on this team you're wasting.
And that's what it's like
5-7.
Tomlin, right? Like my father's a Steeler fan. We were talking about Tomlin before, right? Like, can we all agree that when you look at Tomlin, when you see him, how he acts on the sideline, how he talks to his players, how he does interviews, everything, his demeanor is like football. Like, he almost got that face like you're afraid to say something wrong to him because, like, damn, he's gonna bite my head off. He's damn, like you know what I mean? Like it's just like that's the epitome of a football coach, you know? And it's hard to find those guys nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think we all can agree the moral of the story is that we don't want to see Mike McCarthy. We don't want to see Mike Zimmer. We don't want to see anybody that's current on the coaching staff right now back with the Dallas Cowboys, with the exception of maybe Al Harris. But overall, we want to see a new face of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care how many games they win from here into the end of the season. I don't care if they make the playoffs, go to the NFC Championship game, win the damn Super Bowl. I do not want to see Mike McCarthy back under any circumstances.
Well, hold on. If he wins the Super Bowl, I'll give him a pass. If he wins the Super Bowl, you got to bring him back. Listen. I hate to be this guy. They are not making the playoffs. Let's just stop. They're not making the playoffs. They're not beating the Eagles in week 17.
They're not beating the Bucs. I'm sorry.
They're not beating the Buccaneers. They are going to struggle against the Bengals next week on Monday.
Good.
They might not be the Bengals. The Panthers and the Giants are the last two games you really can just pencil in as W's. The Philadelphia Eagles team does everything the Cowboys don't do well. They run the football. They stop the run. They are very good up front against pass. They go after the quarterback.
And they tackle.
And they run to the football as a defense. They open field tackle. They tackle in the backfield. They tackle in the group. They tackle in practice. They tackle on their days off. That team is good. The Cowboys are not that good. The Buccaneers are playing really good football. Baker Mayfield is a very good quarterback. The problem the Cowboys have right now is that the injuries stacked on top of Cooper Rush, CeeDee Lamb's playing at 60%. Brandon Cooks just came back. He's only playing about 60%. You wasted a 4th-round pick and got Jonathan Mingo, who the Panthers even said, we don't want this guy. There are some internal things. That's why Mike McCarthy's got to go. Zimmer's got to go. And I think Jerry Jones has already made that. I think his mind is made up that outside of an NFC Championship Super Bowl appearance, Mike McCarthy is done.
Good. And I hope they do maybe lose that game to like finally put a nail in the coffin and be like, hey, he's going to be gone next year. I don't want to have him continue to have hope because I know we saw in the news that Jared's talking about, there's a chance that we might bring back Mike McCarthy even under these losing circumstances. And I hope that's not the case at all. We need a change. Our Cowboys need to they need a new voice in the locker room, and hopefully we get that this upcoming off season. And let's not continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results because we know that's insanity. But that's the Dallas Cowboys as well. So, yeah, that's that. So I'm glad we was able to get that out of the way. You guys don't want Mike McCarthy back. I don't want him back. We're going to draft Damian Martinez in the first round of the NFL draft, and he's going to be our rookie of the year next year. He's going to lead the league in rushing. I see it. So when it happens, we're going to refer back to this podcast and be like, yo, Rich told you that Damian Martinez was the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, he's going to have some time off since he's not playing in the college football playoff this year.
You know what? See,
so he'll have some time.
Now I got to mute your mic, okay? Now I got to mute your mic, sir. Well, Silver and Blue Huddle, man, it was great to have the fellas back. It was great to talk Dallas Cowboys. We're on a win streak. Hopefully, maybe I don't know where I want the team to go. I don't know if I want them to win. I don't know if I want them to lose. I just don't know. Like, I want a good draft pick. I want a good player. but they ain't gonna get that if they keep winning. And like my man Esper said, they're not gonna make the Super Bowl. According to him, if you ask me, I'm gonna say we're going to the Super Bowl. But I'm gonna take Esper's side and say we're not going to the Super Bowl. So therefore, we need to go ahead and continue to tank the rest of the season.
Yeah, just shut CD down, shut Zach Martin down the rest of the year. Put all your young guys in.
Yeah.
Bring all your practice squad players up. Let all them guys play. Let's just lose the next 5 games. Be done.
And see who you got. Like, you know what I mean? So it helps you with the draft.
Yeah, start evaluating these guys for real. Like, I have been advocating. Put Trey Lance in. You gave up draft picks for him. Put him in. Who cares if he throws 5 picks? Let's find out if he's good or not when it counts. Right? Okay. Because let's just say Trey Lance comes in here and he lights it up the next 5 games. And then you look next year and you're like, okay, well, if Dak goes down, I feel like we got at least a capable quarterback that can run around, make things happen with his legs. But you got this guy just standing. This is why Mike McCarthy's got to go. It makes no sense. If you're going to have a package for a guy like Trey Lance at 4, when they were 3-7, was the perfect opportunity to say, you know what? The first half I'm playing Cooper Rush. The second half I'm playing Trey Lance. Or I'm playing Trey Lance in the third quarter. He gets the whole third. If the game's out of hand, we got no chance. Third quarter, Trey Lance, get in there. Let's see what you can do. We give him one play and then pull him out. And then we give him one play 2 quarters later and pull him out. That's the coaching stuff I don't understand.
Right. I just think that's the Jerry move, though.
I don't think it is. Because
no. I'm not talking about Jerry saying, "Oh, like start Trey Lance." I think it's if we do that and it looks really bad, then nobody's gonna pay tickets to go to the game. So I think
if you saw the game, I forget who they were playing. It was the last home they played before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving does not count.
Okay, yeah.
Thanksgiving doesn't count because everybody shows up for the Thanksgiving game because it's a holiday. The game before they played the Commanders at home and they lost. Those stands were the most empty I've ever seen at Cowboy AT&T
And that
Stadium.
was a Monday night football game. That was Texans versus Cowboys.
Texans versus It was the emptiest I've ever seen that stadium. The problem is that everybody's still talking about the Cowboys. Everybody's still buying their merch. And he's making enough money from at least what ticket sales he got. Jerry Jones is never going to change. Again, when Jerry Jones first became the owner of Dallas Cowboys, he had a press conference. He had just fired Tom Landry, which, if you're old enough to understand that, did not go over with the Cowboy fan base very well. Tom Landry was one of the most loved individuals in Cowboy history. More than Troy Aikman, more than Roger Staubach, more than Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders. Didn't matter who. You could name any Cowboy. Tom Landry was that guy. And when Jerry Jones fired him, when he bought the team from Tex and fired Tom Landry, the Cowboys nation was in upheaval. Jerry Jones had a press conference not long after that, and he said, winning is the only thing. We are going to do everything we can to win football games and Super Bowls here in Dallas. And he did that the first 10 years of his ownership, and he won 3 Super Bowls. Then he realized winning really isn't everything when you're the Dallas Cowboys. He took a franchise that was at the bottom of the pack in the NFL and made them the most successful franchise in all of sports. And I think to Jerry Jones, success and notoriety is more important to him in the financial side, in the sports media side. That's more important to him than winning Super Bowls.
I think Super Bowls is like a bonus for him.
Correct.
That's like a bonus, but like ultimately being the number 1 revenue team out of 32 NFL teams, I think is his goal.
Right.
Sad.
And he has other family members that are linked up to it. So we're never really going to actually, people always say, "Oh, fire Jerry." It's like, all right, well, eventually he's going to get old. I mean, eventually he's going to pass away. I mean, his son is still there. He got 2 sons. So
he's got grandkids that want to be, take over. Like, it's the Jones family is not getting rid of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they're not going nowhere.
Nah, it's a cash cow for them. So I just want the Dallas Cowboys to be great again. Hopefully, before I die, before I leave this planet, the Dallas Cowboys win another Super
That's it.
Bowl. It's been
we need
far too
blue.
long already, and I'm just hoping to see another good Super
Yeah.
Bowl. I saw
We
3
need
of them
blue and
already.
silver hats that say "Make Cowboys Great Again."
Make the
Blue and
Cowboys great
silver
again.
hats say "Make Cowboys Great Again."
Hey, I just might have to do that. I'm had to trademark that.
And then,
Left.
and then when you turn around in the back of the hat, it could say "Fire Mike."
You know what? I got a nice little hat that I should probably. I'm gonna wear a hat next podcast that I got. That's gonna watch. I got something for that. I will
I'll
pull
tell
it
you
out right now.
if we
maybe
get
at the end of the
embarrassed,
podcast.
I'll tell you right now, we get embarrassed by the Bengals. I might go to that lid store and get a customized hat that says "Fire Mike."
Oh my god. Hey, but it was great to have you guys back, man. Great Cowboy talk. Hopefully, we come up here next week. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. Maybe we'll talk about a dub. Maybe we're talking about, hey, the season is officially over. We could fire Mike McCarthy and yada yada yada. But we'll definitely be back. Make sure you follow the Silver and Blue Huddle on all streaming platforms. It'll be posted tonight on Spotify and Apple Music. Probably on YouTube tomorrow morning. We'll do some clips or whatever. Follow Expert. Follow my man. So amazing, dope content creators. Silver and Blue. We're out. We'll be back next week.